Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Create and Consume, a podcast about what we make, watch, and buy in the era of digital content. I'm your host, Austen Tosone. Few places get as much return business from me as Amazon. And by returns, I don't mean returning items, I mean recurring business. It's easy to see why, though. There's fast shipping, the prices are great, and they truly do have everything. I went back through my orders from this year and I found the 12 best items I've purchased this year that I'm going to share with you today. From fashion to tech to home purchases, these items have done everything from help me stay organized to actually improve the quality of my life, if you can believe it. So, that is what we're going to discuss today. Before we jump into today's topic, let's do a little create and consume. What I've been creating this week actually holds a special place in my heart because while I was technically creating a new freebie for my Etsy shop, The Bold Bride, which I've spoken about on here a few times, the reason that I was working on it last week and that I really wanted to get it done by Saturday is because this past weekend, my best friend Taylor got engaged. I have been texting with her now fiance for several weeks now, coming up with a plan to trick her. She thought she was going to be visiting the lake where, right by near where Andrew grew up this weekend. She thought we were going to be having like a day out on the lake, on the boat, and we totally had her fooled. I was texting her leading up to the week, being like, what swimsuit should I wear Saturday? I think it might be warm enough for us to swim. And thank goodness we had her completely tricked. She had no idea that she would be getting engaged that day, that she would be going to lunch with her family and her fiance's family, and that we were going to throw an engagement party for her at the Hoboken Beer Garden on Saturday night. It was such a happy day all around. I cried from time to time. Luckily, had some waterproof mascara with me, but I did drop off a little engagement gift for them. So, one thing that I got was actually a custom label from Etsy. So, I love Etsy for everything. I am obviously an Etsy consumer just as much as I am an Etsy seller now. I just completely forgot what word that was. But anyway, maybe I should also do an Etsy episode in the future because I feel like there are so many unique and cool items on Etsy that I've purchased over the years. But one thing that I got for her was this custom label. It looks like the Veuve Clicquot label. It's a small peel and stick square label. It's orange, but you can replace all of the usual text with the names of your friends. You can have it say engaged, or you could have it say congrats on your baby, although maybe you don't want to give a bottle of champagne to a pregnant friend, but you could do it for a new home. You could do it for graduating from their PhD program, whatever it is. You can sub in names and you can stick it. It fits right on top of the original label of the bottle. So you don't have to worry about like soaking the label off and resticking a new label. You can just literally paste it right on top of the bottle. So that's exactly what I did for them. I got them a bottle of that champagne with a custom label that said like Taylor and Connor engaged September 2024, Hoboken. And it was just so cute and they loved it so much. And being the Virgo friend that I am, and the fact that Taylor was my maid of honor, and I'm obviously here to help her with any and all wedding planning needs. I wanted to share the new freebie that I was working on for my Etsy shop with them. So I had it printed out and I just bound it in this little thing that I got from CVS. It almost looks like a really tiny folder, but it just is a clear piece of plastic with a binding in it, and you can stick paper into it, which is my wedding kickoff workbook. I know that was a very long winded way to tell you about what I'm creating, but I'm just so excited because my best friend is engaged and I can't believe we actually managed to surprise her. But anyway, within the wedding kickoff workbook, this is basically just a free workbook that I've put together where couples can get on the same page when it comes to wedding planning. So you can figure out things like your approximate guest count, where you want to get married, what the vibe of your wedding will be. Is it going to be more of a casual affair? Is it going to be more of a formal affair? And it gives you lots of places to brainstorm. It kind of asks the most important questions up front that I think determine the rest of the wedding planning process. I want to talk more about this in an upcoming episode. Like I said, it's almost Andrew and my 1 year anniversary, so stay tuned for some future episodes reflecting on our first year of marriage and our wedding. But yeah, I'm really proud of how this workbook came together. So if you or anyone you know is currently planning a wedding, I will link it in the show notes or the description box if you're watching over on YouTube. And then for what I was consuming this past week, I did finish part 2 of Emily in Paris season 4. So if you want to avoid spoilers, if you are not done yet, please go ahead and skip ahead a few minutes. I will leave a timestamp in the show notes to tell you when it is safe to listen again. Okay, so hopefully you are gone now if you don't want to hear any spoilers, but let's discuss what happened in part 2. First of all, I absolutely love Sylvie for getting Emily that little upgrade on her flight, even though it didn't work out. I feel like that was a really nice gesture because it's something Emily would never think to do for herself. I thought the Christmas plotline was not my favorite thing, but obviously we got to meet Marcello, which I don't even care about everything else that happened. I am so disappointed in how Camille's character has changed over the seasons. Like, the writers have really done her dirty, and I guess Emily does need a foil, or we need someone to like compare against if we want Emily to truly be the heroine of the series. But I feel like Camille could have maintained some of her like season 1 coolness. I feel like now she has just become so manipulative and so not who she once was. I think she just got really, really stuck on this idea of her and Gabrielle. Her taking him to have a conversation with the priest about adopting a baby together was insane. What was she like? She was truly off her rocker. It just got me really missing season 1 Camille. I also cannot believe the dissolution of Mindy and Nico. Like, I am just so disappointed by the choices that he's made, especially in support of a company whose legacy kind of speaks for itself versus being supportive of Mindy. I don't know. At this point, I wouldn't be mad if she just flip-flopped between Benoit and Nico forever, because I think there would still be plenty of drama and plenty of uncertainty there. But I also feel like she can't get back with Benoit and then break things off again, because I feel like the band would be at stake at that point. Back to Marcello for a minute. Obviously, the whole point of the second half of this season. I am just obsessed with this man. I am obsessed with his family. I love that he moved home to be closer to them and to work at his parents' company. I absolutely loved that they had lunch all together. Like, that looked absolutely insane. And I feel like it probably got a lot of Americans thinking about like their lunch breaks and work-life balance. I talk a lot about work-life integration versus work-life balance because I don't think I have good work-life balance, but I think I have good work-life integration. I don't know, but that just made me so happy. I can't believe the ending. I can't believe we saw her starting to erase the Paris part of her handle. That was so crazy. Maybe she's going to be Emily in Rome now. I also love that everyone speaks Italian and that Emily is like, does everyone speak more than one language? And Julian's like, yeah, everyone except you, Emily. And the fact that you have lived here throughout 4 seasons of a show called Emily in Paris and you barely speak French is also insane. I totally saw Gabrielle's point on that. I feel like she could have made much more of an effort. I don't know how I feel about Genevieve. For a while, it was like green flag after green flag. I was like, this girl seems fine. And now I can't tell if she's a sneak or not. I think a little part of her is always going to want to be like Emily, though. So that'll be interesting to see how it continues to play out going forward. Anyway, Netflix, please don't make me wait 2 years for another season of this show. Like, just churn it out as fast as you possibly can. I am on the edge of my seat, quite frankly, and I am so curious to see what happens next. Don't forget to let me know what you are creating and consuming this week as well. I know the Emmys were also last night at the time I'm recording this. I know a lot of other fall TV has started to come back. The Golden Bachelorette starts this week, so we have a lot to look forward to. With all that said, let's get into the topic of today's episode, which is the 12 best things that I've purchased on Amazon this year. Now, Amazon has been a place where I've purchased lots of stuff over the years, and there are actually some purchases that I wasn't sure how long I've had or when I got them that I was thinking of when I initially made this list. And it is just so crazy how time flies sometimes, because there was one thing on this list that I was convinced that I just bought like 2 weeks ago that it turns out I've had for over a year. But I love being able to comb back through my orders, see what I purchased. I also very rarely return things to Amazon, I noticed. Like that was kind of good to see when I was looking back through my lists as well. And I wanted to pull some of the things that I actually have been using and loving and tell you more about them. Starting off with a couple of home purchases, the first product I wanted to talk about is our laundry basket. I know, I turned 30 and now we're talking about laundry baskets on the podcast. It's a bit of a cliche, but for me, I just think back on some of the early times when I first stayed away from home for several weeks or months at a time. So for sleepaway camp, I literally had this like nylon drawstring bag that I would just throw my laundry in. When I went to college, I just had one of those kind of mesh hampers that could get smushed up against the wall and was easy to move around when I was moving in and out of different dorms. And when we moved to Long Island City, like when I finally moved in with Andrew, I was like, okay, I live with my boyfriend now. Very exciting. We need like a grown up laundry basket. This crossed my mind. So, originally back in 2021, I purchased a smaller version of the laundry basket and I decided to upgrade it this year because we just, especially in the winter times, like it filled up so quickly, this laundry basket. And even though we are hashtag blessed to have in-unit washer and dryer in our apartment, which is a rarity in the New York metro area, including Hoboken, I'm so grateful that we have in-unit laundry, which makes it easier to do laundry more often. But it just was a little too small for like the clothes that we have. I didn't like that it was kind of starting to overflow and that we weren't able to fit anything. So I ended up purchasing the oversized woven seagrass laundry basket. And by the way, you guys, the links for all of these things will be in the show notes. I can even make a list on my Amazon storefront to make it super easy so you can find everything in one place. But anyway, I'm so glad that I've upgraded. We have not had a problem since then. I love this laundry basket because it looks so chic. Like it looks as though it is meant to be where it is. We can actually keep it out in the hallway almost like as a furniture piece because it is so cute. And this laundry basket has 2 compartments. So it actually fits both mine and Andrew's laundry in it perfectly. So we each take one compartment and we each, I don't know if this is like a thing married couples do or don't do. You guys can tell me if you're married or if you have thoughts on this, but we still do each other's laundry separately just because there are certain things that each of us know basically can't go in the dryer because they'll shrink. And I have my stuff memorized, but I would never want to accidentally ruin something of his. And same way, vice versa. He wouldn't accidentally want to ruin something of mine, not knowing what can go in the dryer or what might shrink or whatnot. So right now we do our laundry separately, but you guys let me know if you do joint laundry if you live with your partner. So anyway, this just keeps it really easy because I've got my side, he's got his side, and we just kind of rotate doing laundry. And we do have some stuff on a drying rack, or rather, I have some stuff on the drying rack back there that I need to fold and put away. But yeah, I think this is perfect, especially if you are looking for a laundry basket that you don't have to hide in your closet. And now I don't have to look at an overflowing laundry bin from when we were just trying to stuff everything in the smaller one. I did take the smaller one to my room at my parents' house, though. I'm hoping that we can redo that room soon, as in paint it a color that isn't the world's most aggressive turquoise I've ever seen in my life, so that we can have more of kind of an all-purpose room that could also be a guest room if more family wants to visit in the future. So that's probably way more than you've ever wanted to know about a laundry basket, but that's the point of this episode, is I'm singing the praises of these items. So the next thing on my list is a shoe holder. You might actually even be able to see it back behind me if you're watching on YouTube. But basically, when we first moved into this apartment, I bought a shoe holder to go by our front door, which I thought was very smart of me. And this shoe holder was really cute. It also had a section in it that was a long, tall section attached to it where you can put an umbrella. We also have like a yoga mat in there, just like anything tall that you might want to throw down right when you walk in. And it held 8 pairs of shoes. So for a little while, this seemed to make sense. And it was like, oh, just whatever sneakers you might throw on if you're going to run out the door or run errands, or in Andrew's case, a pair of shoes that he always wears to the office. Like those were kind of the key things that we kept by there. And I also have a spot for my purse just so that I can grab it and go out the door at any moment. And also, when we first moved into this apartment, I had a hanging shoe holder that was in our hall closet. And I just felt like we were not reaching for our shoes in there. And it was also eating up space that coats could be hanging. So I wanted to get rid of it. Then all of the shoes were on the floor of the closet. It's like dark in there. It was like kind of confusing. And I was like, here's a great idea. Why don't I just try to buy another shoe rack or buy a similar shoe rack? So I originally got the first one from Wayfair, and I looked on Wayfair, but I couldn't really find anything that similar. But I was able to find one in pretty much the exact same color, that instead of having that extra compartment for like standing umbrellas and things like that, was just a flat shoe rack across the board. So it is a 5-tier bamboo shoe holder. I was able to assemble it myself with maybe a teensy weensy bit of confusion, but like mostly was able to do it relatively quickly and get it set up. And what's amazing is this shoe holder actually holds 18 pairs of shoes, because it fits 3 pairs of shoes across on each one of the 5 shelves, but we're actually able to put our flat sandals underneath too. Like they slide in just underneath there. So we're able to have 18 pairs of shoes there, which just gave us so much more storage and made things so much more organized. So that is definitely something that has been a big help for keeping track of our shoes and not needing to worry about overflow or losing shoes in the closet or any of that. The next thing that I purchased that I wanted to talk to you guys about, I learned about earlier this year from watching a Vanessa Lau video. She is one of my favorite content creators to follow on YouTube. She actually took a year-long break from content creation and just recently came back earlier this year. And she created a video showing her filming setup for YouTube. And when she showed this, my mind was literally blown. Can someone explain to me how, for the 12 plus years that I've been a content creator, I didn't know that you could purchase a dummy battery for a camera? Literally, this was one of my biggest life discoveries to date. And a dummy battery is basically a power cord that you can purchase that comes with like a charging pack, and it looks like the battery for your camera. I actually have my Sony camera here. I can show you. So it comes with a power cord and it has an end attachment that looks just like this battery if you're watching on YouTube. And you basically are able to put it in and plug your camera in, and then you don't have to worry about whether or not the battery is charged because the camera is plugged in. So I can't tell you how many times that my battery has died while I've been in the middle of filming a video, and I've either needed to have a backup battery charged and ready to go, or if I forgot to charge the current battery I was using or a backup battery, I would have to sit and wait like in the middle of recording with all my lights up and everything. Like, okay, I'm ready to go at any time if not for the battery. And I'm just obsessed with this. It's made my life and my filming process so much easier. So if you are also a content creator, I would highly recommend looking into getting one of these for your camera, because if you film sit down videos, it just means that you will never have to check your battery level again or worry about how long you've been filming or if you remembered to charge a battery before you start filming. My next best purchase from Amazon this year was something that is literally right in front of me, and that is my pink podcast microphone. And I absolutely love my mic, number one, because it is pink. Duh. It is so cute. And I am also wearing pink and wearing pink lipstick today. So I am fully pinked up and matching. I also, hopefully you can see, I'm going to try to block the light here, but it has this really cool light feature at the bottom where the color changes at the bottom of the microphone. I just think it looks really cool. And you can change the colors on it. You can also, the best thing and the easiest thing about this mic is that it just plugs into my computer with a USB-C. USB-C. Yes, sometimes those letters are really hard to say all back to back, but basically like my iPhone 15 charger, as long as you have a USB-C to USB-C power cord, it plugs into the laptop. So there's nothing complicated about it. It does have the capability to plug in to the other type of audio hookup that I can't remember the name of right now, but basically more sophisticated podcasters than me might record with a different type of cord that gives you more control over the audio levels and stuff. Maybe this is something I'll learn about in the future, but if you are a beginner podcaster or you just want a desk microphone that can easily plug into your laptop, this one is amazing for that. So I got it on Amazon. I just was looking for a mic that, again, was user friendly and that was like under $100, and I found this one. In the future, I would ideally like to be using headphones, I think, with this mic so that I can hear myself when I'm talking. I did actually buy a pair of headphones when I first got this mic that I ended up returning just because I didn't really like how they felt on my ears, but for right now, the setup works fine for me. But hopefully in the future, maybe I'll have like a little podcasting corner in my apartment, or maybe I can afford to rent out some studio space if the podcast makes money in the future. But right now, I'm just worried about staying consistent with the podcast, putting out new episodes each week, and hoping to grow listenership. The next purchase that I made this year is probably one that a lot of other people bought, and I feel like the age range is deceptive because if you showed me this product pre-Eras Tour, I would be like, oh, 5-year-olds buy that. But I'm sure a lot of 20, 30, 40, 50, etc. year olds ended up buying bracelet making kits this year from Amazon ahead of the Eras Tour. So I purchased this kit before we went to go see the Eras Tour in Amsterdam. I have an entire podcast episode where I recap that experience. So if you haven't listened to it yet, I will link it in the show notes so you can check it out next. But the friendship bracelet making process was not only really like soothing and relaxing, but also just really fun to do. I really enjoyed coming up with all of the album names and the color patterns that I wanted to do. I liked being able to select some of my favorite songs and make bracelets inspired by those as well. And then when we were at the Eras Tour, like some of my favorite moments from the Eras Tour were just meeting other Swifties and trading bracelets and kind of talking about the stories behind our bracelets and how we made them. And it was just such a meaningful part of the concert experience for me and something that I truly enjoyed. I don't think I am particularly crafty, but I think that this is just such a fun little thing to have on hand that I can make bracelets for different occasions. I'll be seeing my niece and nephew in a few weeks, so I was planning to make some bracelets for them as well. It's just one of those fun things to have on hand, and it really was not that expensive. I am not entirely sure about the pricing for some of these items, especially because prices can change on Amazon, but like I said, I'll link everything that I got, and even if you don't want to get exactly what I got, I'm sure you could find something pretty similar. Another purchase I made this year, which required like maybe a mild level of crafting to it, was actually a photo album to put our wedding photos in. So, like I said, we got married last September, so it's almost been a year. And when we got our pictures back, we were actually away in New Zealand on our honeymoon. We had a really hectic couple of months after that. So, it kind of didn't occur to me until earlier this summer that I could actually print out our wedding photos and put them in an album so that we kind of had a designated place for all of the photos, which I feel like in 2024 is not something I think about a ton. We have various picture frames throughout our apartment. You can see one behind me on the bookshelf. I have a couple here, one on my desk. I have this photo from our wedding on my desk. And then we also have these floating shelves above our desk, and we have some picture frames on there as well. But I just don't remember as often to print and display photos like that. So I loved the idea of getting this photo album. There were a lot of photo albums that were square and that I might have been able to get because we had quite a good mix of like horizontal and vertical facing wedding photos, but all of those were for like 500 plus photos, and I knew I did not want to print that many and have to sort through that many. So I ended up picking a slightly smaller album where there are, like, if this is the sleeve, there is 3 images back to back. So if you're looking at it when it's open, there's like 6 photos per page, basically. This isn't ideal considering that some images are horizontal and some are vertical, but it's better than nothing, and it's not that hard to like tilt an album slightly to adjust your viewpoint. I also liked this album because even the cover page had a little slot to put one photo in, so when you pull out the album right away, you can see it's us. I'm in my wedding dress, Andrew's in a tux, so you immediately know what the album is about without actually having to open it and go through it. And I actually also ended up buying a second album just for miscellaneous photos. Even my sister-in-law, when I saw her earlier this year, she had printed out some photos that she gave to me. Sometimes it's just nice when someone actually like prints photos, and that someone could also be me. So now I have these two photo albums, and I actually just got a third photo album. One of my best friends, Charlotte, who was also one of my bridesmaids, I just got to see her for my birthday, and she brought this present that she was working on from our wedding. She had been walking around with a Polaroid camera, which I knew she was walking around and taking photos, but I totally like spaced and never followed up about any of them. And she actually found a Polaroid photo album and put so many of them together for us from our wedding. So that was just so thoughtful of her. And it made me like emotional all over again. There are plenty of options of photo albums on Amazon. I will link the wedding photo album that I purchased, but there are tons of options for all different types of photos on there. The next thing on my list was actually one of the items that I wanted to mention in this post, but I have been having some technical difficulties with it, so I wanted to talk about it mainly to like ask the crowd, but it's this little tech device called the AirFly Pro. So I have seen a couple of fellow content creators post about this, including my friend Caitlin, and I really wanted to get one of these because it almost looks like a little token or like a little USB type thing, but what it does is it plugs into the headphone jack of an airplane and you can pair your AirPods to it. So you can watch movies on an airplane with like your noise canceling AirPod Pros. And I am so addicted slash used to my AirPod Pros at this point and the noise cancellation feature that whenever I plug in like the airline supplied headphone jack earbuds. I can't even remember the word earbuds now because I'm so used to saying AirPods. Whenever I plug those into the plane and you can barely hear the audio and there's so much white noise from the plane, or if one person is talking loudly near you or one baby just happens to start crying, it's really, really hard to hear without turning up the volume and still getting that kind of tinny noise and sound. So I thought this was a perfect solution for me. I actually used this on the flight to Amsterdam and it worked so well. And then at some point they got disconnected and I tried to use them, I think on the flight back from Brussels when we came home. And for some reason I just couldn't get it to connect again. And then I tried again to use it on our flight to Portland earlier this summer and it wasn't working anymore. So I don't know if anyone has any helpful tips for me or maybe an instructional video or something. Maybe it just died and it wasn't charged, even though I thought I charged it. But if you have any AirFly tips, please let me know what they are because this is on the brink of being a life-changing product for me. I just need it to actually work. On a similar note to that, I added my Anchor backup phone charger to this list. I bought this before we went to the Eras tour because I was terrified that between me being the one navigating through Amsterdam to get to the concert and all of the photos and videos I was going to take there, that it would die and then we wouldn't be able to get back to our hotel. I was the only one with data on this trip. Andrew was just using like Wi-Fi when he could. So I just wanted to make sure that I had a fully charged phone and that I had a fully charged backup battery to bring with me to the concert. And I actually have lots of backup phone chargers, but they're all for Lightning iPhone chargers. So ever since I got the 15, I've had to switch everything to USB-C chargers, and this one worked out really well. The next item on this list is actually a kitchen item. It is this 4-cup egg pan. And the best way to explain this is kind of to picture like a muffin baking dish with, little cups for all of the muffins. This is basically a pan that has 4 compartments like that. And I use it to make our breakfast sandwiches in the mornings. So I use the Trader Joe's frozen chicken sausage, I use an egg, and I put it on an English muffin. And with this 4 cup pan, I can do one sausage in 2 of the cups and then an egg in each of the cups. And I can be making like a breakfast sandwich for Andrew and I at the exact same time. And I love that this shapes the egg so that it kind of looks like a McMuffin, honestly. Like that's pretty much what I'm making. I'm just making it at home. And I just like that it makes the egg very compact, like you know what size it's going to be. It fits perfectly on the English muffin and it's just so satisfying. It's also pretty easy to clean. So I cook the sausage and the egg in the pan and I toast the English muffins in the air fryer. And it literally takes me like less than 10 minutes to make this breakfast and it's so easy to use. Next on my list is a fashion item. I have to say, I feel like Amazon does get a lot of crap for like the quality of some of the clothing on there, but I have had really, really, really good luck with purchasing clothing from Amazon. Pretty much everything I've bought from there has lasted for quite a while. I feel like I take good care of the items, but also I'm pretty intense about reading the reviews to make sure that there's not a high percentage of people returning the items to see what exactly people like about the items. And so far, like I said, I've had really good luck with that. I've purchased leggings, swimsuits, camisoles, I've purchased sweaters and things like that. I don't know. I've honestly had really good luck with what I've purchased on Amazon so far, and this is no exception. I have been calling this the Saturday dress. That is not the name of it at all. I will link it like I will with everything. But the reason I've been calling this the Saturday dress is because literally every weekend, pretty much no matter what our plans are, I just find myself reaching for this dress. This is all my cousin Erin's fault because for our cousin Caitlin's bachelorette weekend in Cape May, she wore this super cute black maxi dress. And it's not the same as this. She said she got hers from Madewell, I want to say, but that I went and looked at Madewell and I didn't see anything like it. So I figured it was from a while ago, but I couldn't stop thinking about her dress. And it was just so simple, but it was like cotton, but it had these cute ruffled sleeves. And I was just like, I feel like you could wear that literally anywhere. And it just totally got me fixated on finding a dress like that. And I did. So this dress is square neck and it has little ruffle sleeves. It is ruched kind of along the bust. And then from there, it is a maxi skirt with a big ruffle at the hem. And I just absolutely love this dress. Again, it was like under $50 and I just can't stop wearing it. I have worn it over the summer. I wore it to Caitlin's welcome drinks before her wedding. I wore it for a casual dinner at the lake with Andrew and his mom. I wore it to my own birthday book club meeting. That was a few weeks ago. And I wore it to Taylor's engagement party last weekend. And it goes with everything. It's so versatile. I feel like all I really have to do to transition this one to fall is either throw on like a denim jacket or a leather jacket, and I could be good to go. This is also one of those examples to me of a dress and a silhouette that I like so much that I would look for like maybe a higher quality version of this as well. If someone like Cezanne or I don't know, any brand on Shopbop or something were selling a dress similar to this, I would feel a lot better investing in it, seeing how much I've already worn the version that I purchased from Amazon that I still think is pretty decent quality. So shout out to the Saturday dress. If you go on my Instagram, you can see me wearing it, and I've also linked it on my LTK. This next item was influenced by Lindsay Silberman, who influences me on quite a lot of things, honestly. And when I saw her post about this, it was an instant purchase for me because it solved a problem that I was having. When I travel, I have been putting my makeup brushes in little makeup pouches or like Glossier bags. And I feel like in the Glossier, like pink zip bubble pouches, if you know what I'm talking about, the brushes kind of tend to get squished when traveling. And then when I would put them in regular makeup pouches, the makeup that was still on the brushes from after me using them would get all over the pouch and make it really dirty, which I was like, this is probably not sanitary for when I actually put the makeup on my face after this. So anyway, when Lindsay posted about this travel makeup brush holder that is basically almost like this silicone cylinder case that it's not a hard shell case. It really is almost like that loose silicone material, but it still maintains a bit of a shell and it comes with a Velcro strap that secures it. And this has been the perfect thing to travel with when I'm bringing my makeup brushes because I don't have to worry about dirtying makeup pouches that I have or any other small bags that I might be packing the brushes in. And this does not squish the brushes either. It gives just that soft shell enough so that it's protecting the shape of the brush without squishing it too much and also without taking up too much space. Like I said, this was pretty much an immediate purchase for me when I saw it, and now I can't imagine traveling with makeup brushes in anything else. If you don't have like a go to travel makeup bag, this is something I would definitely add to your cart. And then the last thing that I had on my list, and I also have one bonus item to share with you after this, is a lightweight pink refillable water bottle. I am a big fan of, like, the Stanleys. I'm just holding up my Stanley that is pretty much always next to me on my desk. And I also like the Simple Modern tumblers because they leak less than the Stanleys, but they are not practical for when you're traveling or when you're outdoors and you want to make sure that you have water on you. I actually purchased this after, I think right after Amsterdam, after coming back from there, because I brought my Corksicle water bottle, I want to say, to Amsterdam. And I like the Corksicle, but the main benefit of that to me is that it keeps my drink really, really cold because it's insulated and I can't bring ice onto an airplane. That's a TSA no, obviously. And similarly to like the Stanleys or the Simple Modern tumblers, the reason I love them so much is because of how cold they make my drink, but they tend to get heavy, especially if you fill them up with ice, and they're not really practical to travel with. So I was like, I kind of just want basically like a plastic water bottle, but one that's refillable, that's not a plastic water bottle, to bring with me when I'm traveling or when I'm hiking, which is something that I do now that I'm with Andrew from time to time, as you may have seen. So I just wanted something lightweight. I wanted something that looked and felt basically like as if I were having a plastic water bottle with me. So that is the reason that I picked this water bottle. It is really tall and skinny, so it again doesn't take up too much room in like a backpack or a carry-on. It's much more lightweight than any of the metal or insulated bottles, and it also comes with a strap, which I feel like is good just if you are hiking and you want to hook it up to like the top part of your backpack or something so that it stays upright. But yeah, it's dishwasher safe. It's easy enough to use and clean. So I've really been enjoying traveling with that one more. That's basically become like my go-to travel water bottle now. And then my bonus item is something that I just got. So I can't confirm whether or not this really works or not, or what I think of it yet, but I was influenced by a bunch of TikTok videos, but I did not buy it from TikTok Shop. Okay. I am scared of TikTok Shop. I don't get it. I don't really get how it all works and everything and why the prices are so low. And I'm sure that it helps you get more visibility because also once I watched one of these videos, I just got served only these videos for a little while. I don't know. It's not my favorite thing. So I saw it on TikTok and I typed what I saw into Amazon and found this product. Basically, it is a spinning, scrubbing, cleaning brush. So I liked it because it's rechargeable with a USB-C charger. So there's not like batteries or anything. It basically looks like a dish brush, but it's actually electric. So you can spin. And I feel like this is really helpful for deep cleaning some of the areas of our apartment that I'm like, okay, when this gets dirty, it's really not my favorite thing. And it's going to be so much more effective than me just like scrubbing at something with a scrub daddy by hand, I feel like. And this brush that I got comes with 8 different attachment heads. So there's one that's more like a sponge, there's one that's more like a brush, there's a brush that's meant to be able to get into like corners more easily. There's one that's kind of more like a squeegee almost. There's one that apparently you can use to like clean your mirrors and get the dust off of them. So I'm super excited about this. I kind of like quickly tried to use it the other day and realized that I need to do a bit more research before I jump in and like clean our whole bathtub, for example. But I think once I get my ducks in a row and I figure out like which soap to use with it, depending on what I'm cleaning. I did buy some of the pink stuff to go with it. that I saw some people using on TikTok, but maybe even just like a Clorox, bleach cleaner might be something that can be used with it as well. If you guys happen to know what I'm talking about and you have any tips for how to use these spinning brush things, please let me know. But anyway, I am excited about that. I know that's like another 30-year-old purchase that it's like, what should I buy on Amazon today? How about this cool cleaning brush head with 8 different attachments? But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I feel like this is kind of one of the episodes that I picture sprinkling into the podcast from time to time, since it does focus heavily on consuming. But I really want to make sure that I am sharing quality recommendations with you guys when it comes to shopping as much as I possibly can. Like I said, I have tried and tested these products over many months, and so far these are the best products that I've purchased this year. Hoping I can figure out the air fly situation before whatever my next flight ends up being. Luckily, I don't have any flights booked right now. Like I said in the last episode, I'm having a local girl fall, but please let me know any tips and tricks if you have successfully used the air fly attachment, and let me know what you guys have been buying lately as well, or what your favorite Amazon products are. Thank you again so much for listening, and as a reminder, you can support Create and Consume for free by doing any of the following. You can leave us Apple and Spotify ratings and reviews. If you've made it to this point in the episode and you haven't yet left a review, please go do it. It will take 2 seconds, I promise, and you have no idea how helpful it is to get the show in front of more people. You can also like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you're watching on YouTube. You can follow along at Create and Consume Pod on Instagram and TikTok. You can send this episode to a friend who might enjoy it. And as always, don't forget to check out createandconsumepodcast.com for episode recaps and more. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.